Hey everybody, Hambbage here. Thanks for coming by. Let's play some Minecraft, huh? No preamble, we're getting down to business today. Well, I mean a little preamble. I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you being here, and that I hope you've enjoyed the recent content that's been put up. We've got, uh, those things, whatchamacallits, beacons. These things. Look at that. Beautiful beacon-powered beacon. And we are in the midst of taking down at least this column, if not two, before we take down the dragon once again. We want to, now that we have the advantage of beacon power, get a big old crop of obsidian in our pockets and be able to use that on our wither arena. We did really well for ourselves. We started off strong. Had two wither fights. Obviously, we've got two beacons now that we can use. But I don't want to have, it kind of took its toll on the area there, and I don't want to have to rebuild every time I fight a wither. I would much rather just be able to start again, with maybe a few patches here and there. Also, if we can keep him better contained, the wither that is, we won't run into the situation we did in the second fight where he got up above our heads and had to come back out to smack him occasionally. So, again, I'll kind of do from there. Mainly, we just, if we're going to take down the wither, even as I'm saying that, I think maybe we'll do this tower and then call it good and reset. As we talked about in the last video when we began the mining, we can kill the dragon theoretically forever, and we're going to set up to get gas tiers as well. We have a little system for obtaining those, for which obsidian comes in real handy as well. So lots of use for it, but when we're pulling tiers regularly, then we don't have to worry too much. We can have as many of these towers as we like. The other thing I thought of, and I've never done this before, but I was thinking like, oh yeah, we might as well do two so that we don't have to break and reset the beacon. If we're gonna just end up needing more, we might as well leave it in place and break down a couple of these towers. And we'll see how much actual time it takes us to get through this one. If it goes way faster than I expected, then yeah, maybe we'll push on through and do a few more, or another. But I suspect by the time we get done with this one, we're gonna be good to go. But yeah, it was a little too much information, I'm sure. But I, before go live, I like to be awake and refreshed. And I'd been out this morning, and I got to tell you guys, nighttime didn't quite come all the way through for us here in Colorado last night. It got warm yesterday. I don't know what was going on with my outdoor thermometer. It's cheap, right? It's like one of those big round ones. It basically works off a spring, and the spring, will expand and contract based on the temperature. And so when it gets cold, the spring contracts and the needle moves towards beyond zero, whatever the need may be, counterclockwise. And when it gets hot, the spring extracts, and the little red pointer moves the opposite direction. But that's not the most precise system, right? And I don't know. I don't know that there's any real rating for them either. But I don't know if they have a lifetime expectancy, right? That like after a couple winters, that spring just loses its springiness and starts to linger. Whatever the case, I had some stuff to do after recording yesterday, and it was one of those days where, I don't even know. Through the weekend, I guess, certainly, I think, well, honestly, I had not driven my truck since before I went on vacation. Since I went and got my rental car, I had parked it, kind of out away from, like any apartment or anything. There's good spots and bad spots to park, right? The good spots are the ones up close where if you get groceries or things like that, you don't have to walk a million miles. But then there are other spots that are, away from any entrances of any buildings, that kind of stuff. And they don't get used as much. But, certainly, I guess, it's kind of like putting up pictures of your vacation on Facebook, right? You're advertising to anybody who cares enough to know that you may not be around if you park your car and then get it out of the way. But I figured enough people had seen me bouncing around in the half day or so that I had the rental before I left, and then again when I got back, because I didn't return it that night. I had been rushing back to watch a hockey game and used it the first part of the day because I had to, back in the day when I first started renting cars, you never knew this may still be the case, I don't know. You never knew what the gas policy was, right? Do you leave it full? Do you leave it empty? What does the gas rent company or the rental car company want? And they're not going to be jerks about it. You can do whatever you need to do, but generally they would give you a full tank of gas in the car and then say return it with a full tank of gas. If you don't, then we will fill it for you, but we buy the gas and we set the price. So, it would be like, and this was back a long time ago when gas was, I remember when gas was less than $1 when I was like 16 driving around. There were a lot of times that we could get gas for less than $1 a gallon. But that quickly changed. And for most of my adult life, so far, I guess it varies, right? But for most of that early part, it was somewhere in the $1 to $2 range. And when that was the case, you'd either fill the car up with your own gas on the way to the airport, or you would let them do it, and it would be like $5 a gallon, which I understand, even back then, places like Hawaii, some of the big cities and things like that, or Europe in particular, that would be, comparable gas. So it's all relative, I understand that, but it was always a better deal to do it yourself than to pay the rental car company to do it. Well, when I got this car, they said, okay, so it's at a half tank. Get it back to around a half tank, and you're good. And I don't know if I shared it, but on my drive back, this is a week ago, right? It's Tuesday today, I believe. Man, you always hear streamers and recorders say, hey, I don't know, what day is it? It starts to really be true when it's hot out and you start, for me, it's more vacations and all that kind of stuff than any constant connection to streaming. But between yourself and your friends on vacation and not having a really tightly defined schedule, they start to feel very similar. But yeah, so a week ago, I was driving back home from seeing my family, and I was racing to get back to an NHL hockey game, or not to the game, but to go out with friends and watch it. And I had filled up with gas and was, the gas light came on, and I still had, oh man, I don't know, like 40 some miles, and when you know your own vehicle, you know how far you can push it, or at least you probably at some point should. You never want to run out of gas. But you also, doesn't hurt to let your car get down to where the gas light comes on, and at least know, like, if you get to E, how far do you have? How many miles? Look at the odometer and note. All right, the needle is, or nowadays they're all digital anyway, but it's showing on E. How many more actual miles do I have before the gas light comes on, before this gets serious? And then, from there, it's kind of a game of chicken. How much more can you go? And that's where you want to kind of be careful. Hey, the light came on, I got 5 miles to get to the gas station, and then just, if it happens again, just see if you can keep it within that, or if it does go over and you still make it, all right, how far did that get? You gain that experience the longer you have a particular car. With a rental car, you have no idea. So when the light came on, and I'm still coming on to the outskirts of the Denver metro area, but still kind of in ranch land area, and you don't know how far, it's still isolated towns and things, right? There's a little bit in between, but it's not like gas station on every corner. And I still had miles to go before my exit. I was going to fill up. Like, I went in and the gas was like, I think I'd been paying $3.10 to $3.15 for most of my trip, and I got to this place, and obviously they know they've got this little market, right? They're one town, well divided from any others, and they're close, but still a ways off from Denver. So a lot of people making this trip probably end up in about the same situation I am, and their gas was $3.45. So I was paying 30 to 35 cents more just for the location. I was like, all right, fair enough. Hey, you guys are all in Colorado. We're all paying the same taxes, but you're not going to gouge me that bad. So I put in 4 gallons to get me home, and it ended up that wasn't quite enough to get me to the half tank and have enough to return the car. So the next day, I splashed in a bit more gas, and then you've got something to play with. So I was, just running errands and things. It's silly, right? But it's like, why am I going to drive my truck and use its gas when I've got, enough here around the half tank to be fine? I'm going to go get my groceries and all that, whatever that stuff was I was doing when I got back, on this tank I just put in to get it right at the half tank. So that's what I'd done, and then I'd kind of stocked up, and I'd been getting out and about walking, but the couple of other times I met up with friends, it was close within walking distance and stuff. So, and those nights were beautiful. In fact, I shouldn't even say it. Every night has been just gorgeous recently. Even last night, it got hot. I had thought that the temperature was staying lower than it was, and when I'd been out before I recorded the last video, I'd said, yeah, it doesn't feel too bad. There was still a little hint of a breeze at that point. When I went out after the video and got in this car that had been sitting for a week and a half or so, probably, it was from the Thursday 2 weeks ago, so a full week plus 2 days or so. It felt like a hot car. I opened up all the doors and just let it sit and breathe for a bit to get it all out. The windows, were all had that little coating of dust from being sat idle and all that. So I got it out. But yeah, by the time I I got out and going, it felt the wind, whatever breeze there had been, was just gone, done. And the it was funny, we always joke about being caught with the garbage trucks in the midst of recording videos. Well, I don't know what had happened, but on my way out of the parking area between all the various little buildings in my complex here, there was a garbage truck, and these are the like front loading. They have like forklift like arms on a pivot on the front, and they drive up to a dumpster and they put the little arms through, and then they lift the dumpster up over the cab of the big garbage truck and dump it over, kind of over the truck's head into the truck at the back. Something had gone horribly wrong. Probably hydraulic, from what I could see. But here in like kind of a narrow little stretch of the areas, buildings and garages and parking spaces and all that kind of stuff, this garbage truck had apparently broken down, and I think its hydraulics went out while it had a dumpster lifted, because it was sitting there. And they, a lot of times you guys may have seen like semi trucks will do this too. The engine actually sits below, so for big maintenance, the whole cab actually rockers forward, and where you would sit to drive, it actually gets tilted like 45 degrees or so forward, and then the whole engine area is exposed from there. So they had this like that, except that there's a dumpster up above it all, and I suspect that, being a really hot day, it may have just been that, an old worn hydraulic cable, something hadn't done well with the additional temperature and just popped. Seems likely, but there's a guy like laying down as I'm like scooting my truck past this, making sure he doesn't stick his feet out under me, and I'm sure he was like, this is not an ideal place, because there's always people coming and going, and it's there's never just a dead time, but it could have been anywhere that thing went. So yeah, it was hot enough to break trucks yesterday, and one of my stops was to go over to a buddy's. He got me some tickets, sporting tickets for later in the year, and so I just wanted to, it's all on his account, so I didn't want it to sit long without getting him back. He shouldn't have to put out that money for everybody else. So I'd run over to his house and was just saying hi, but a couple funny things there. One, his thermometer was he has like the digital reading, like the indoor outdoor thing, which I think are great. My parents have one, my sister has one. I'd even given my sister one years and years ago, and that was still kind of new stuff. Just an apartment, there's not that much difference. I don't need it, but yeah, we were joking. His son, who's grade school age, is sitting inside playing video games with a friend. He was kind of working, but not too slammed. His son came up first. He's like, "My dad's on a call right now. Do you like you could be working in an office telling people that." But then my buddy comes walking up like, "Yeah, no, I it wasn't that big a deal. It's over now. So come on down." So we were settling up and just kind of joking. He's like, "Man, it is hot out," and I was like, "I can't believe it." And this was peak afternoon time, right? Like the time you don't do anything if you don't have to. And as I'm driving into his neighborhood, there's like a both athletic, don't get me wrong, but like a pretty heavy set, muscly type guy, not like college age, probably at best late 30s, maybe a little older than that. And then what looked like, and again, I don't know who these people were, but I don't want to disparage, but what looked like could have been his mom, like a woman that was at least another 15 years appearance older than he was. And they're both out jogging in this heat. Like, you guys are nuts. Like, don't get me wrong. Every time, every video, I try to encourage people to get up, be active. It really will add to the quality of your life. But you don't say I told you you had to get up and do it when it's like 95 plus degrees outside in the middle of the afternoon. It's absolutely the hottest part of the day. You can, if that's your thing, go for it. You won't have crowds to deal with, but I thought they were nuts. And we were coming in, and he's talking about like, oh yeah, I was like, yeah, I haven't even kicked on my AC yet. My place is sitting, I think this morning it was at 70, back down to 70 from 71. So it's a little warm. It's a little warmer than I would like keep it in the winter. But seasons are different. I'm firmly of the belief you don't have to keep your house at 62 all year long. You're gonna spend a lot of money to do that, and waste a lot of resources. Your body will very quickly adapt, more quickly than a lot of people give it credit for, to living very comfortably in a range of temperatures. And yeah, the first couple of times it may be a little unpleasant. You'll notice that it feels a little warmer, but it's just like, if you're in an area that has very diverse winter, summer weather patterns, you'll notice it when it's been winter time, and it's maybe late February or March or something, and that first day hits where it gets to like 40 degrees, and it's been teens and 20s as highs for as long as you can remember. If that first date hits 40, you will see people out in shorts. They're cruising around going, oh, this is the most beautiful weather, I can't believe it. Now in the middle of June, if 40 hit, people would be bundling up and shivering and going, what happened? This is so cold. So your body does adapt, and that can go for indoors too. You don't have to, I let my winter temperature get down to the low 60, 60. You don't want to go below 60 really. Just for house systems and all that kind of stuff. But I'll let it get down to 62, 63 sometimes. And, I have a couple throw blankets I keep on couches and chairs and stuff, and I dress for the weather. I don't expect to just wear shorts and a t-shirt and be comfortable in the middle of the winter. And with a comforter and blankets and stuff, I sleep lightly, but I don't, I don't just expect to be hanging out in my place. The same right now, shorts and a t-shirt. It's dressed appropriately. And as the last video topic covered, I just hopped out of the shower, and it was a warm one. I live what I try to live what I advocate for people, and definitely, it seems a little weird, but it definitely beats getting out of a shower when you've been in cold water and feeling like the air is warm and clammy when you get out. You'd much rather feel warm and get out and feel a little bit of the cool air as your body's drying off. So that's what I did. I feel great, and I think that's important. It's one of those things. You guys can't see me. I don't have cams or anything set up yet for YouTube. I don't think that's a huge deal. For streaming, yeah, I see it there. But I've always thought it's a little weird for for just videos. Oh, hey, look at my face. Look at my face. This is me. You guys have to see me. Do you? It's the game. We're all here for the game. We're all here to see these obsidian blocks breaking in front of me. But that being said, and nobody knows any differently, I still, before I get going for videos, as you guys know, I have my coffee all set up and all that, and particularly, I like to get out and exercise in the morning. Now, that's not always just, drenched in sweat. Like I've said, I walk more than I run, just due to the old ankle injuries and stuff like that, and just wanting to have the durability. I can get enough push and fitness out of walking most of the time. You got to mix it up a little bit, otherwise, yeah, your body will adapt and you won't get the same results. But yeah, just walking with intensity and mixing in hills and that kind of stuff. will generally get you some good stuff, especially to get going in the morning. You know, you wake up, you want to get your body moving. You don't need to go uh, push hard until your body's really adapted, and that's usually what I've done. But that can be that can be a few miles over an hour or two. And yeah, I like to get cleaned up. So put on fresh clothes, or you know, give a shave after the shower. You know, some deodorant and all that good stuff. Just feel clean and fresh and ready to go. So that's what I've done, and I feel cool and great. Got the blinds pulled down right now. We're kind of in the endurance mode for the next few hours, but it will drop off and should hopefully get cool again. But last night was the first night in maybe a year that I've actually left my bedroom window open all night, more because of noise than anything else. It's I've got the AC units for my apartment that never, rarely ever runs, and my upstairs neighbors are right outside my bedroom window. And the upstairs ones, as I've said, they get the sun and all that, so they run much more continuously than uh, what I need to do here. So there's some noise there. You know, it's kind of white noise. Once you adapt to it, it's no big deal. But again, I also live fairly close to a garbage area. Yeah, I heard at least one person dump in a bag of trash at some point. I don't even know if it was early morning or late at night, but that was very apparent. So those kind of things happen. But it was nice, and I was surprised. I did not get more cooling, and again, there was no breeze yesterday. I don't know that we got much of it overnight, but there wouldn't have been a lot of reason for the air to cycle out. And I could have turned on the HVAC fan in my apartment without the AC on, save some energy that way. The compressor of the AC is really what takes the energy cost there. But you can blow the fan to move some stuff through. What I really can do to cool off my place is to open all the doors. But as I think I've mentioned before, I kind of have I wouldn't say it's a paranoia, but it's a newfound respect for critters coming in through those doors. Hey, Critter, not Critter Meister. Awesome, awesome streamer. I don't know if his stuff goes up on YouTube or not, but check out Critter Meister with a K on Twitch for sure. He, I have the respect for the critters after I used to when I'd first moved in. I have these. They're kind of magnetic, but like flappy screen doors. They're more like curtains, really, and they hang on a rod outside your external doors. And there's two sides that have magnetic strips that affix themselves to the exterior of your door frame, right? Not the swingy part of the door, but the sides of it. And so those kind of anchor down and make a pretty, it's not a seal, it's a screen, but it's pretty tight. And then down the middle, it's divided, and they're like four small magnets, kind of like shirt, think shirt buttons, right? They don't go through anything. They're just magnetic sides. And each of those kind of forms a clasp that go down the central seam of these two screen sections. And they work pretty good, honestly. For as cheap as they were when I got them, I think they do a very admirable job. And if I lived in an upstairs place, my doors would be open every morning, probably all night, with just those screens. They do a great job for bugs, but rodents can just sneak right through the bottom of them without any issue. There's nothing, it's not like a door jam that they have to deal with. And I found that out the hard way in kind of the first summer that I had them. I don't know if it was when I was first here or what, but at some point a mouse got into my place, and I don't mind mice. They're pretty cool. Like I said, my niece has a couple pet rats at their place, and they're cool enough. My sister had I don't know if it was a hamster or a gerbil. I think it was a hamster as a pet growing up. So they're cool. They're fun. They're not my favorite pets. They don't quite have the engagement that I look for, out of like a dog or something like that, where they really want to be your friend and bond with you. Rodents kind of do their own thing, but having one unwelcomed in your house, man, that just gets under my skin. Everything feels a little tainted once they've been in, and I don't know how long it had been in there for. But I know one night I was laying in bed and I heard this, like, scurrying sound, and I was like, man, I can really hear stuff. There's something out back, and I even got up and went outside around the back of my back wall, because the head of my bed goes on an exterior wall that's kind of on the far end of the building. There's some landscaping and bushes and stuff around it. And I'd gotten up and walked outside. I was like, man, whatever that is, I just want it to move along. If I just walk out there, it'll go. And I'd gotten up, walked around, didn't see anything, came back in, got back in bed. After, like, all right, I gotta put on shoes and all that kind of stuff, and something decent enough, because it's an apartment. You can't just walk out there in your shorts and wander around. Somebody's just getting back from work, or maybe just going out or whatever. So. You kind of got to go through the whole ordeal. It's not like, walking in a single family house where you just walk out in your yard to see what's going on. So I'd gone through this whole ordeal, gotten up, gone back, and I get back in bed, turn off the light, laying there quietly waiting to go back to sleep, and then I hear it again, and I'm like, nah. And then the realization slowly dawned. Oh no, this is something that's moving around in here. And as anybody who's ever dealt with mice, I think most of it, you can live in the most pristine, clean house you've ever had. They get in. That's kind of their life function. But you always catch them out of the corner of your eye, right? That little fleeting movement that when you're not really focusing on it, and they just dart across, and you're like, oh, there it is. Well, I saw it, like, I think it had gone, I don't know, it was either into my closet or out of it in my bedroom. And I'm like, oh, that's way too close. This is no good. But I had nothing to deal with it in the middle of that night. And, I think I tried to, like, rustle stuff around, but of course then they just cower deeper. And, so I think I just kind of dealt with it that night. And the next day went to a hardware store, got some traps, and eventually it was disposed of. I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have minded dissuading it in a live no harm situation, but it's a communal living space. It's an apartment deal, and I didn't really have that luxury of space or anything. It just had to go, and I got it very effectively. I won't go into the details, but it was gone the next day very, very quickly. I know how to take care of those things. So problem solved. The problem is then you just feel like everything in your kitchen is suspect. Like, where was it able to go? Because they can compress their bodies and get into and out of little places, and you have to worry with mice and things like that are such prolific breeders. Was it setting up a nest? I hadn't seen it come in, and since I'd been leaving the doors open every morning, I had no idea. I was all worried, but nothing came of it. I've never seen another sign since then, and this has now been a couple years ago. But it does. I will very, very occasionally. I think one day on stream I was talking about that I had the door open. Was kind of we'll see how the sound goes, but only if I'm like sitting right there or up and about and moving, and having already gone out on my balcony and cleared everything out, will I even leave those open? And if I just have a couple windows that actually open, the doors are the primary means of ventilation. So with just my windows, I don't get much cross breeze at all. Now I could set up a bunch of fans, but I'm in an apartment. I don't want to have store and hold a bunch of fans. So, but I've been keeping up with it, and got a couple degrees back overnight, but it was a little less than I'd hoped for. I would have liked to have gotten down into the 60s overnight, but didn't. So we'll see what the future days hold. The other thing was I didn't pop up. A lot of times I'm just up and ready to go. And while I didn't get woken up with a calf cramp again, fortunately. That was wonderful. I did sleep till like 7:30 this morning, which is pretty late for me. And so by that point I still, was still plenty comfortable to go out, but it wasn't, it was already heating, so I didn't have the air of the house. If one of these nights works out and I'm sleepy enough at the time, I'm going to try to get to bed very early and see if I can reset to kind of start 4:30-ish, because I would love to have an hour or two of that time to really open up all my doors and let the place try to get as much of that coldest overnight air, pre-dawn air, and then set back up. So we'll report back on that. You guys can check back to see if there's any progress, or if natural circadian rhythms win out and I'm unable to push my sleep forward like that. But I do definitely recommend the early morning and late evening. Last night was so beautiful out when it finally cooled down, and this was like at or around 9 p.m. Local time. I went out, and man, the sun was, basically already down. Some of the sky was still bright though, and up above there was like this just fleecy layer of clouds that were just this orange pink, and kind of fading as I was like, oh, I gotta go unobstructed view of that. So I walked over to the edge of the property where there was no buildings, looked out kind of over the creek at this just amazing sky, and it was you could tell it's kind of like before sunrise. The sun's, in this case, getting further away, so instead of brightening, all that's fading out as less and less sun is catching it. But then there was another big old looking thunderhead down to the south up over the mountains, and it was still catching a lot of light. Had cool angles and like this overhang on the top. Really, really cool sky. And it was pleasant, so I went out for another walk, but man, the creek area, those bugs are full on at the moment. And I did not have bug spray, so I retreated up away from kind of the nice scenic naturey path trail and just walked some sidewalks to get home, and called it good. It was beautiful though, and for any of you guys going through heat waves, I mean they're going to be going around, right? This is just the beginning. Probably the next 2 full months would get us to mid-August, and it can certainly go beyond that. No matter where you are, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, in which case, welcome. How awesome is that you get to live in the southern hemisphere? But if you are, you may be encountering chilly weather. A little jealous. I'd love to get to Patagonia someday for never summer or winter skiing type stuff. But anyway, that's a cool thought sidetrack. Oh, the other drama. Hang on a second. Let's just check. 40 minutes. Hey, that's about as much time as it took us to get back across the Great Expanse on the previous episode. So we're doing all right, guys. Don't worry. This one may go a little long. I kind of like to get the fight in this episode, and that would give us time for another episode where we try to go find some more shulkers, maybe. Oh, what was I gonna? Okay, so yesterday I wanted to swing by the grocery store. I'd gone to the ATM to get some cash for these tickets for my friend. Could have done PayPal or whatever, but it's kind of just nice to settle up in person. And I had like no cash. And while the pandemic is it kind of got to be a little taboo to have cash, it's nice, most of my friends socializing, meeting for dinner or an appetizer or something, or some beers out on the patio. And when it's mostly guys type stuff, it's easier to just split up checks yourselves than try to have a waitress divided, or a server. It could be a guy or a girl. And hang on one second. I could feel like a little crumb in my throat. Weird. Anyway, we if you well, I guess even that didn't happen too much, but it used to be you'd split like nachos or something like that too. Nowadays, I think that's kind of past, right? The CDC and everybody has said you can't transfer actual coronavirus through food. You can still get sick sharing food, and hopefully that gives all of us a little pause thinking about hand washing and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we ingrain some habits, although with the masks coming off, it seems like everybody's quickly just going back to the same old, same old. It's just kind of, it's like, man, didn't we learn anything? But anyway, I went to this grocery store, and I didn't need much at all. Just like a couple refreshing things. I wanted to get a bottle of tea, some more avocados, and I was looking for chicken, because the last time I'd been there, I couldn't get any grilling chicken. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be great to throw on a salad. And I was walking in, and I see one of the like managers that I've seen there, over the years of going into this particular grocery store. I see her kind of coming out, and I just like give a smile and a wave, and all of a sudden, like, to one side, and I think most grocery stores are this way, right? You get the outside where they're selling like hanging baskets and all that kind of stuff, and then like the featured items sitting in the table, which I get it. It makes good sense, but it totally makes just chaos of trying to get carts, right? Because there's outside carts, and there's inside carts, and there's baskets, and the little buggies and the big buggies. It's all just a madhouse every time. And better now that it's not all Corona, but still crazy. And I'm walking in, and just as I am, like this lady is like, "Get your hands off me," and like turns and just slugs this guy, like, not in the face, but like pushes him in the chest hard, like, like confrontation. This is going down. And I'm like, what on earth? And then, I'm kind of like, is this like lady in distress? Is something going? And I kind of see the woman I know works there whip her head around too. And I kind of take a step, and then I realize that the guy is another guy that works there. He's wearing like the company shirt and everything, and she like clocks him. And then just as I'm like understanding, hey, maybe this is not domestic or something like that. This is actually going on out of the store. Up comes this dude from the other side with two people chasing him. And he goes tearing past, and I'm like standing in the middle because I'd walked up and was like just waving, letting people come out. This guy brushes by me on the other side, and like two people go chasing him out, and they're like, I don't know these people. I don't want to be judging, out of hand. Although I think based on the circumstantial evidence, I'm not far off in saying it looked like they were on something. They were not in their right mind. But this one guy stays kind of engaged with a woman as she goes tearing out into the like traffic, because every grocery store has like the lane of traffic that was right across the front before the parking. Everybody, it's like a gauntlet of old people driving looking for spots, and parents trying to hold kids from running into traffic and all that. But this lady like drags the guy out into the middle of it, and the other guy's like pushing people off, like doing swim move kind of stuff, and they both got like not the store shopping bags in their hands, and the clerks are like clutching at those, and they're like, you've already looked at these bags, you're not gonna, blah 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 blah, and something, clearly it's shoplifting, right? These people have been caught doing something, and they've got like other store shopping bags, and we're trying to dump stuff in. And apparently, however it went down, one or the other was trying to divert, and the other was apparently trying to snatch and grab. And as I'm standing there, the manager lady that I'd seen was fishing out her phone, calling the cops, and I find myself like, why, like, all right, this is not me. This is anti-shrink process going on at the store here. And I kind of like wander back into the store, and I'm like, all right, why am I here again? This was too crazy. I didn't expect to see all this. And, it just struck me. And I'm a little more cognizant of those things going down for two very diverse reasons. Once, when I was a kid, a high school kid, one of my first like real job other than like cutting lawns and that kind of stuff was working at a movie theater. Great job if you can get it. Definitely recommend. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but when I was working there, one of the best jobs, and when you'd been there a while, you got to do it, was actually cleaning the theaters. You'd think, like, gross, that's awful, why would you want to do that? But it was great because overnight is when they did the gross, like, full-on cleaning of the theater. And this was like, early, not the full, like, stadium seating, but that early arena type idea where everything's sloped, there's lots of seats in the theaters, THX sound was new, is kind of that era. So it was pretty cool. All you had to do was like go through and grab empty drink cups and popcorn bags, or that kind of the obvious big trash, and any like crumbs, spills, that kind of stuff, that got cleaned overnight when they first blew out and then mopped all the theaters, because the floor underneath the seats was like concrete. It wasn't like carpeted and all that, which seems to have always made a lot more sense. I don't know why anybody thinks that carpet in a environment where at least once a day a soda's getting dumped by a kid or an adult or something. But anyway, the best job was to be these that you would just go as movies wrapped up from movie to movie and run through the stadium with a big old trash can. You just grab up, bunches of cups and bags and all that kind of stuff. And for like over half your shift, you're just chilling, hanging out, watching movies and all that. Well, I never thought that there was a possible drawback to that job at all. But one time I'm going through, and depending on how busy it was, if it was a weekend Friday night, you'd have like 2 or 3 people. But most of the time you were just solo. There's no need, right? You got some downtime between, and so you just go bust through, clean up these theaters, and you'd be free to hang out with all the other people that were working the concession stand or whatever, and laugh at them as they were having to do work. So it was great. It was like this fun floater job. Well, one fateful night, I was the only cleaner, and I'd cleaned a theater, and this lady comes flying up at me, and accuses me, just out of the blue, says, "You stole my purse." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I don't even know who you are. What's going on?" And I think I've said this before. Like, anyway, this lady's losing her mind. The movie theater management people were totally awesome. They like pulled me aside and got me out of there because I'm like, what on earth is going on? And it turned out they found this lady's purse in the theater, and I don't think anything had been taken. I don't know. She was like out of her skull, feeling like she'd been robbed, and I don't know. I don't know, because I never saw it when I cleaned, but as I just described, we weren't being super methodical. We were running through trying to get cups and bags and all that kind of stuff out as quickly as possible, so we could go back to hanging out or watching bits and pieces of all the other movies that were going. Anyway, that was my first experience with shoplifting and being on the accused side of, you did something, and suddenly feeling like I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know how to answer that. You're just assuming that because I was a person that was in that area, that I was doing something bad. I was just trying to do my job, and it felt awful. I never lost that feeling. I mean, I don't go around like constantly feeling accused, but I've never lost the feeling of what it feels like to be accused and not understand why, or not having done any, being unjustly accused, really. There was nothing to it on that side, and it's terrible. It doesn't feel good. So I've been very, very aware of that, and as an adult, I try to give everybody a benefit of the doubt. Also, probably it would have probably been 5 or 6 years later, after I graduated from college, before I'd gotten into my career. I was in that downtime of graduated, not really working a solid job, and I happened to get called to jury duty. And the case that I didn't have anything. It was this is in Minnesota, and I was living in Hennepin County, which is the county where the city of Minneapolis is. I didn't live in Minneapolis, but county, jury duty is done by county. So I get a summons. I got nothing better to do, and you get paid a little bit to sit on a jury, and because it's the biggest county, I believe, in Minnesota. At least it was at the time. You would go to downtown Minneapolis, and this is like Night Court, if you remember that old show or something. You're sitting there, and I've got these, like, this is right. I've just gotten a degree in history. I'm thinking about, maybe I'll be doing teaching or something like that. And I've got some big old dry books that I've been working my way through. And I'm like, this is great. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to go hang out, do some reading. I got my tunes on my Discman, and they would give you a lunch stipend, and I'm in downtown Minneapolis, so I could go walk the Skyways. I think my mom worked down there at the time, so we'd go meet up and hang out. It was just a dream until I got sat for the trial, because I'm young. I'm apparently not old and jaded enough or cynical enough to be tossed by either side, and I didn't make any excuses or anything. I didn't have family or work or anything to get back to. I mean, I'm kind of sitting there going, man, I hope we get sequestered. They'll put me up in a hotel with cable and all that kind of stuff, and keep paying for food and all that. It'd be great. They didn't, but I did get sat for a trial, and I just because it's the right thing to do, for no other reason, I think everyone should serve on a jury. And I don't just mean getting pooled. Obviously, you're legal, but just because it seems like the thing to do to I don't want to get stuck on a jury. I want to get off. So people say all kinds of horrible stuff under questioning and all that, or make up excuses, or whatever. And I get it. Some people, it is legitimately a problem, but it's also civic duty. I mean, we live in a society, and think about it. If you were the person on the other end, if you were accused of something, whether you did it or not, we have, as Americans here, and I understand this is an American take. A lot of other people or countries have different means of justice, but for us, we believe that you can't just be convicted by a bureaucracy or an official or somebody who's being paid to do it. You have to be convicted of people who it's not their job. They are your peers. They do other functions in the community, but they're citizens and can be trusted, hopefully, to review the evidence against you honestly and fairly and come to a verdict. So again, a little soapbox, but if you ever should get summoned, first of all, appear, because otherwise you can, there's always in the news story of whatever county is fed up because they can't get enough jurors to actually show. And a lot of times they pull big jury pools knowing that some people are just going to ignore the summons. Some people may have moved. They may not have a valid address or whatever, and they can't track you down. All that is possible and fine. But that being said, I've certainly watched the news a few times over the course of my life where it's like so-and-so county is now issuing arrest warrants for anyone who did not appear for their jury summons, because they get to the point where they send out, I don't even know what the numbers would be, but 40 times more summonses than they should need for the available pool of jurors, alternates, and dismissed, and they can't, they get to the end of the week or whatever the period is, and they don't have enough jury pool left to pull from. That's a problem, and so yeah, sometimes they have to crack down, and you may not go to jail for it. You could, but you'll probably pay a fine. Did I put the gray box away? That seems like a silly thing to do. All right, well, look at that. We got a full shulker. Okay, let's put these two in. Again, this must have been out of the portal. I don't know why I didn't deal with that more recently. Okay, we're going to put these away. I'll pick that up. We're going to... let's get that too. All right, no. Darn it. No, you get in there. Okay. Obsidian done. Obsidian done. This, I guess, is going to hang out. I don't want to have a black... Oh, I just pulled it out accidentally. Potions. We want to set those up, but let's... yeah. Two strength. Bunch of slow falls. You go away. You come with me. Now, this is the part I've never done before. Speed, resistance, jump boost, or strength. Now, will this immediately break it? I guess we're still getting it until we set anything. So, do I want... Oh, wait. I hope I didn't... Okay, I've still got it. Because I was going to... While I still have the haste, do at least an initial end stone. The reason is I think I'm going to switch. I think I'm going to do, as you could see there, do we do regen? Do we do extra strength? And can I then stack that with my strength potion? Will that double up my strength? I guess we could for science that. Strength would be the best, right? That just helps us kill quicker. And we can kind of check the radius of this. See, we're still getting haste all the way out here. So we would have strength. We could come up and do the chops on the dragon. Not to mention all the bow shots. Having strength without having to worry about the potions. Or doubling them up. I don't know what the difference is there. But we can for science it and find out. I don't think they're going to stack. I don't think we're going to get like strength 3 by drinking a potion. It would only be if the two effects are side by side in the display that I would even think there's a chance that we're fooling that into extra. I just don't... I don't use regen potions in the first fight, and our gear is certainly better than that now. We've got the slow fall. We've got the apples. Yeah, I just... I don't know if there's any incentive not to. So this'll partly help us with the dragon, right? There's less levels for us to get stuck on as we're kind of rolling around shooting at him. Mainly, I want this end stone for bridging once we get out into the end and we're going to cities and looking for shulkers and all that kind of stuff. We may have to get more eventually, but yeah, we'll deal with all that too. How we doing here? So yeah, I think strength is the way to go, and just hit her harder, faster, and more efficiently for a fight. How we doing time? Oh, we're already over. Go. Again, apologies for keeping you guys waiting. I hope the long-winded rambling. Oh, I didn't even finish my story. We got down to the bottom of the obsidian. So, serve on the jury if you get something. I did, and it was absolutely fascinating in a way. I mean, yeah, parts of it are slow and boring, but for one thing, I think for me it really changed the understanding of what the legal system looks like from a criminal perspective side. Because I watched, and you could tell that the public defender that this guy had was scraped up out of nowhere. Well, and I shouldn't say that. That's unfair, because I think like a lot of people do with public defending, he was getting a start. A young guy, and he may have in part been why I ended up on the jury. I don't know. I don't know enough to know if, I made an appealing as a recent college grad, so I'm educated. I think they understood I had a respect for the for the legal system. I was attentive. I wasn't being disrespectful to the judge or anything. Because you sit in a room, right? For anybody that hasn't served on a jury, you sit in a room, which is like I don't know. It's kind of like I think like the DMV, right? If you go in there, there's just lots and lots of seats in those. Where you just, they know there's going to be a lot of people waiting. Well, this is the same deal in the pre-jury room, and that's where all these people that got these mailed-in summons go. And at the beginning of the week, on Monday morning, you watch a video, and it explains how the process works, and basically all your names, once your ID gets checked, and they verify that you are the person who received the summons, and you aren't just showing up. Because again, remember, there's some real possibility for tampering when it comes to that. And when you're sitting for all the talk about trials of the century and all that kind of stuff, when you're sitting in one of these pools, you don't know anything about what may or may not be coming on a jury. I mean, I guess, some people, if they got the summons, and they'd probably be smarter about it than I was as a 22, 3-year-old, whatever I was, probably back then grabbed a paper or whatever and were like, what's the legal news? I wouldn't have even known if there was a legal section, but, they did. As far as I know, there were no high drama cases or anything like that. So I sat in this room, and I did for a couple days, at least. I think it was into Wednesday, if not Thursday. And, it's basically like study hall, right? There's lots and lots of tables. It's not uncomfortable. It's not lavish or anything. It's just basic chairs and circular table kind of stuff where you sit down with a few different people, and everybody's got books or magazines or whatever. Now it would all be computers, but back then it was, whatever you're going to bring. I think I had a Discman and some headphones and some books and probably some notepads or something. It was just, I'm holding just enough stuff to keep it bearable, as I go. And again, I was right out of school. I mean, I'd done all kinds of research papers and spent hours in libraries and all that kind of stuff. I was, if anybody was ready to do that kind of time, it was me. So it didn't feel like a chore at all. It was just like, okay, whatever. Let's get this done. I think we've got enough. Oh, I looked at you, didn't I? He just wanted to make sure we got a fresh load of stuff. All right, so we're going to have apples. We're going to have steak. Let's have our steak. Get that ready. We're going to have our pew, 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 pew arrows. We're going to have, let's switch our beacon now. So we'll go all strength. Strength, strength. Pay for it. Now we should see our little indicator change. Oh, I guess because, okay, we want to get rid of this so we can watch. So that's wearing down. But now we got strength 2. Now we'll want those. We'll try this as soon as we get this set. And hopefully this will go quick. This will determine how long over we go. Okay, that's going to reset. Take some screenshots. Okay, now we want to... So that's still just strength 2, so no benefit there. And now we are just going to have a couple slow falls on. Here comes our dragon. Boop. Oh. I got him on the way down. That's great. Lost him though. There he is. Oh, I should be. I'm just shooting the dragon. We need to take care of some business here, don't we? Oh, how'd that feel? Did I get that one? Can't tell. Oh, that was a hit. That was a hit. Very loud. We know you're there, dragon. You're very angry. Oh boy. Oh! He come after me? Is that just on the dragon? Oh. Get in there. We got a video going along here. Game? Okay, there's one. Still good on food. Too short. Haha. All right. Still got one over there. How did that... It's very odd. I don't think I've ever seen that. Let's get a screenshot of that, too. It's like a firework. Do 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 do. How does that one still have stuff? I saw him take damage, so I'm gonna guess that I got that one. Ooh. I guess my slow fall ran out. If I ever even ate it. Drank it. Let that be a lesson to you, chat. Drink your potions. Get that tower. That's really loud. I don't know. He's like stuck there. She's stuck there. See, at times it seems to do those, but I'm not seeing the explosion come off. Okay, now she took off again. Oh, come on. All right, now, are you getting any healing back at all? Kind of don't like the bubbly things out of my beaconiness. Maybe that's my slow falling? Oh my goodness, that cough was coming. Oh, don't you. Whoa, that wasn't me. The grinder is back. I heard it. I don't know if you guys even heard that amidst the, Why can't I hit him? Give me a hitbox. Oh no. Oh boy. Guess it's time for another one of these. Haha! Oh boy! Yeah, he was after me on that one. You want to come in for another? Oh. Oh, turn back into that. Oh. Are they coming for me or are they mad at him? you seem mad at me. Where'd that dumb dragon go again? Come on, dumb dragon. This is like feeling like the longest dragon fight I've had in a long time. Just... Oh. I'm gonna go right into the middle of the goop. Yeah. What? That was right. Whoa. Wow, that... I couldn't get his hitbox at all. It seemed to be elusive. Alright, well, hopefully we got some good screenshots there. And we get some XP. Not nearly as much as you get on the new one. So there's our new portal over here. I said new one, but first one. That's what I meant. Alright, well, awesome, guys. We got a lot of obsidian and we killed a dragon. I think those are good accomplishments for our little episode here today. And with that, since we are now very long, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this one. One of a kind. This one certainly was. An hour and 22. I'm sorry, that's a little longer than we've gone recently, and we'll try not to make a habit of that, but I had said we were going to fight the dragon, and did want to get that obsidian too, so sometimes you just got to stretch. We'll see how long the next one goes. We'll build some stairs up to that new portal, shoot ourselves on through it, and see what adventures await us on the other side. But we are not starting soon. We are stopping right now. Go ahead and take a break. I don't know what I'm going to go outside. It's pretty toasty out there. Maybe I will, so it'll feel cool and deep and dark inside. We'll see what the construction stuff is. Again, that apartment that they've been working on, it's I think it's pretty well done. But a couple days ago they were working like in the bathroom or something, so I think they're just doing fixtures, so maybe a little bit of noises, but we'll probably come back pretty quickly. But for you guys, you can pick your own schedule, so take yourselves a nice long break if you'd like. Definitely give your eyes and brain a little interference from that digital screens we all stare at too often, and get yourself up, move around a little bit, get some good fresh blood moving through your body, oxygenate up your muscles and tissues and all the rest of it, and maybe grab a snack, make yourselves comfortable. I'll be here with another video for you when you get done, and until that time, take care of yourselves, stay the awesome people that you are, and lend someone else a hand if you can. I can't wait till the next round. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you guys having been here for this one, though. So hit me a like if you enjoyed. Drop me a comment to let me know what about it you did enjoy, and we'll do the next one here soon. Bye now.